Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're not doing a whole lot to the dually, mainly because the rear hubs are off of the truck right now. And let me show you exactly what's going on with them. So we picked up a piece of pipe. This is 5-inch DOM tubing. And what we're going to do, like I explained last time, is machine this down. And then this will slide over top. And then we'll machine this down to the exact inside diameter of that wheel over there. So it'll be perfectly centered on this hub, and it should run really true and we shouldn't have any issues there. We are going to replace these bearings, and the gear lube actually back here is pretty nasty. So we're gonna replace all that and should be in good shape back here. But since we can't really do a whole lot to this right now because, well, the situation it's in, we're going to tear the motor out of the second gen, the motor that's going in here. So let's go grab the second gen and pull it in. So here's a beautiful second gen you guys have all known to love. So we're going to see if it fires up. I did have it running yesterday, so it should start fairly good, and it's warm out. Alright, we got it in the garage and we're going to start. I think we're going to pull the motor, tranny, and transfer case out in the garage and then probably roll the rest of it out onto the trailer. So that means this is all coming out, and pretty much there's nothing to it but to do it. As you guys can see, we got the motor completely tore out of this thing. It took about 2 hours, but pretty easy job actually. Now we got it hanging off of the service truck right now, and I didn't get it on film, but I had a slight mishap and my engine hoist tipped over. That's why there's gravel on the side of this motor. But anyway, we're gonna spray this thing down with degreaser and try and get, you know, all of this real thick grease off of there and clean it up. This thing will definitely need to be resealed and then painted, but for right now I'm going to fire up the pressure washer, get this thing soaking with some degreaser, and then we're going to try and clean her up. Alright, well, it's the next day. This thing's fully dried off, and looking at it now, I probably could have done a little bit better job washing it, but don't worry, we're going to go through and clean this entire motor up perfectly. We're going to reseal it because this thing leaks like terribly. And then we're going to paint it. I'm thinking like a Cummins beige color, but let me know what you guys think I should paint this motor. And then we might do some stuff to the injection pump, turn it up some, but we'll get into that into another video. But this is the new heart for the dually, and it should be pretty sweet once we get in there. It's been a couple days since I pulled that motor out, and I got the hubs back from my buddy. Now, as you can see, what he did was machine the inside and then machine this outside, and I'll show you how this fits. So this is gonna fit on there just perfectly to center that wheel. So I think this will work out really nice for what we're gonna do. I went ahead and got all new bearings and seal bearings and seals and whatnot, because the old ones are pretty shot, and as long as I'm in here I might as well do them. I got a new gear lube, of course, because we're going to change out the rear axle gear lube, and we should have everything we need minus a couple wheel studs that I might have screwed up when I was taking the drums off. So besides that, I think I have everything I need to throw this rear end back together. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just kind of going to hammer it out, and pretty simple stuff, just putting the races in and then the bearings and whatnot. So let's get this done and hopefully get this thing driving today. We got the new bearings and races installed in these hubs. Got the seal on the back side. So these are all ready to go. But when I pushed out some of these wheel studs, I messed up the threads on some. So we're gonna go get some new wheel studs. Make a quick trip to the parts store. All right, so we're back now. We got some new studs, same exact ones, of course. But what we're gonna do now actually is I'm gonna throw these jack stands underneath the diff, and then we're gonna pull that diff cover off and drain the fluid. And then I'm gonna clean up the cover, clean up the inside of there, and put some more RTV on it and throw that back together. So that will start setting up while we put the studs in and assemble our drums. And then once those are assembled and on, we can just fill it and we should be good to go. So I'm gonna jack it up some more, throw the jack stands underneath and get that cover off there. Had some pretty nasty stuff in there, so it's probably a good thing we're changing it. Now I just gotta let this drip out a little bit, clean up this gasket or RTV, and then we can slap it back together. As you can see, that stuff is really nasty. Hopefully there's not too much metal in there. It's kind of sparkly, but I guess we'll see. This rear end didn't really make noise or anything when I drove it, you know, when it was two-wheel drive, so hopefully it's all right, but we're gonna clean this up and find out for sure. I think I'm gonna find a wire brush and clean up this surface, and the inside's actually pretty clean. All this rust isn't gonna come off of there, so I'm gonna clean this up and then this will be ready to go. There we go. Now I'm just gonna spray it out once before I put it on there with brake clean, and we'll be in good shape. I just spun this diff around to check what the ratio it is, and it is 410s, 41 teeth on here, 10 teeth on the pinion. So it is indeed 410s, and as you can see, it's completely open, which is fine. It's what I expected it was gonna be. There's a lot of play, you know, a lot of play actually in this rear end. So I'm not exactly sure how long this thing is gonna last, but we're gonna slap it together and run it anyway. And if it does go out, then we'll upgrade to something else, you know, a Dana 80 or something a little bit more heavy duty. But for now, I'm just gonna scrape off this gasket quick, and then we can start throwing the new, or the diff cover back on. So I got the Ultra Black Permatex, which I'm not really sure if it's any better than any other stuff, but I think it should work for what we are doing here. I need to cut the tip of this off. Maximum oil resistance on this stuff. There we go. Now if I can just keep it from dropping in the dirt, we'll be in good shape. Alright, we're in good shape with this diff cover. We just gotta let that set up, and let's throw them hubs together. Alright, so we got the new bearings and seals inside that hub, and now we can put the these new wheel studs in there. And you're probably supposed to press them in, but I'm just gonna hammer them in, and I'm sure they'll be fine. And then this is ready to actually go back on the truck. So just let me hammer these in quick, and then we'll be in business. Alright, now this thing weighs about 500,000 pounds. I already cleaned up the spindle, so we're in good shape there. like that. Alright, so you gotta put some preload on these bearings, and I'm sure they make a wrench that will fit inside these slots, and you can probably torque it to a certain spec. But we're not gonna do that, one because I don't have the wrench, and two because it's not really necessary. All you need is a punch and a hammer, and you can set it by hand pretty much, and you should be able to feel. Now that's probably all right there. It's better to be too loose than too tight. And they say loose is fast anyway, so this thing is a speed machine. And then you slide this guy right in up there. And then this clip just goes, I believe it just sits right like that, and that should be good to go. Shouldn't come off. So I'm gonna go ahead and slip the axle shaft back in there. After I wipe it down, it's pretty nasty, and then we can do the other side and fill it up. And now the axle shaft is going. Just like that. We'll tighten these down once we got the wheels on, so just snugging them up for now. Then we'll do the other side quick, and then put the wheels on, and then probably fill it. Alright, so I was putting these inside wheels on, and I managed to crack this spacer right there. So now the spacer's junk. I think what the reason for that was that rim still wasn't sitting up flush, and it must have put too much pressure on that one stud. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and order wider spacers, probably go to 2.5 inch, separate them tires a little bit more. Unfortunately, this will be the end of this video. We won't be driving it today, but stay tuned for the next video where we're gonna put wider spacers on, hopefully not crack them, and then go for the first test drive, you know, on the street. So it should be pretty exciting, but until then, thanks for watching.